things going on, and I think I can make an educated guess what it is. Something which you, George, would find hard to do.
True. Where I was at school, education could go hang as long as a boy could hit a six, sing the school song very loud, and take a hot crumpet from behind without blubbing.
I, on the other hand, am a fully rounded human being with a degree from the University of Life, a diploma from the School of Hard Knocks, and 3 gold stars from the kindergarten of getting the shit kicked out of me. And my instincts lead me to deduce that we are at last about to go over the top.
Great stutter! You mean the moment's finally arrived for us to give Harry Hunn a darn good British-style thrashing, 6 of the best, trousers down?
Are we all going to get killed? Yes. Clearly, Field Marshal Haig is about to make yet another gargantuan effort to move his drinks cabinet 6 inches closer to Berlin.
This is Plausibly Live.
Every year around this time, you get the meme. You know what I'm talking about, right? The meme. It's the same meme that comes up every Memorial Day and usually around Armed Services Day. And it's the meme that says, "You're doing it wrong," because you said Happy Memorial Day to someone. And so it's a meme that in great detail explains to you that Memorial Day is for the fallen, Veterans Day is for the veterans, and Armed Services Day is for the active services. And if you don't do it the way we want it done, the poster that is, you're wrong. So repost this and share it. Memorial Day, of course, is for remembering the fallen, but it's also for looking forward. They tend to forget that. Boy, Veterans Day is different, isn't it? Veterans Day. Happy Veterans Day! Yay! Free stuff! Now, don't get me wrong. Don't misunderstand me. If you're a veteran and you partake in all the free stuff, good on you. I cannot do that. I can't bring myself to do that. There are some reasons why, but if you do, I'm not criticizing, I'm not complaining. Good on you. I can't because today to me, while it is Veterans Day, is also Armistice Day, which morphed into Remembrance Day after the end of World War I. It's called Remembrance Day, but we don't. We barely even think about the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month of 1918. Some of the things that happened that day when the armistice was signed that brought to a conclusion the combat phase of World War I are reminders of the stark stupidity of war. General John Pershing, the commander of the American Expeditionary Force, was utterly opposed to the idea of the armistice with Germany. He wanted to keep going until we marched through the streets of Berlin. The problem that he had was Britain and France were utterly exhausted and really not in much better shape than the Germans were. So when it came to the armistice, which was brought about because of the revolution in Germany, the British and the French were eager to get this death over with. Pershing, not so much. And on the 11th day of the 11th month of 1918, John Pershing, along with other American generals, chose instead of sitting in their trenches and waiting for the armistice to go into effect, they chose to attack. In this attack, though, they made many of the same mistakes that the British and French had been making for 4 years, going over the top into the teeth of machine guns, barbed wire. And in some cases where the Americans attacked on November 11th, 1918, the Germans were horrified. Sitting in their trenches with their machine guns, they were waving at the Americans, "Please go back. Don't attack. It's 10:30. What are you doing?" The utter waste of war was once described by Captain Blackadder as the necessity to move General Haig's drinks cabinet 6 inches closer to Berlin. And now here we were on the verge of the end of this whole thing. General Pershing's having the same idea. He wants to attack. Completely unnecessary. Complete waste of American lives. And it resulted in a congressional investigation, which you will not be surprised to learn found no problem with this. Because if they had found a problem with it, they would have had to blame somebody, and they weren't going to hold anybody accountable for that. And so the utter waste of an incredibly stupid war went on for another several hours. Only this time it was American lives being thrown away to no good purpose. So when that meme comes out, how to celebrate Veterans Day, Memorial Day, Armed Forces Day, I tend to get a little bit snitty about it. Then there's the free stuff on Veterans Day. I get it. I understand it. You want to say thank you to a veteran. Believe me, I understand it. And veterans, back in the days when I was on the air, veterans would call up the show on Veterans Day and they'd tell me, hey, come to this place, they've got this, and go to that place, they've got that. It's all a bunch of free stuff, except you might pass a VFW post or an American Legion post, and they might offer you a poppy and ask for a donation. Most people have no clue why they're doing that. For me, Veterans Day is still Remembrance Day. It's still Armistice Day. Yes, it's Veterans Day. I get it. But it's the one day of the year that outside of the parade that I'm in every year now because of submarine veterans, we do a Veterans Day parade. November 11th is the one day of the year that I don't do veteran. It's the one day that I take off everything on my visage, everything on my clothing, everything that I do that designates me as a veteran. Because to me, it's a day of remembrance. It's a day to think about those men who were ordered over the top on November 11th, 1918, for no purpose other than to make some general somewhere feel better. It's a day to think about the utter futility of war and the utter disaster that it was. I will spend a few moments today contemplating that futility. I will think about it. I watch some television stuff. I watch a movie called Paths of Glory every year on Veterans Day. Paths of Glory is a fantastic film, stars Kirk Douglas. But it's about the utter stupidity of war. When a general, a French general in this particular case, wants to attack when he shouldn't. And he orders his men forward, and his men look at him and go, no, that's just stupid. We're not doing it. And so his solution is to pick 4 people at random from the division that refused his orders and to have them shot. How many men are in the division? 10,000? 15,000? Who knows? I'm not expert on my table of organization for French infantry units during World War I. But the bottom line is there's more than 4 people, and he just picks them out and has them shot. And Kirk Douglas is the attorney who's assigned to handle their appeals. And as tragic as that story is in Paths of Glory, as Hollywood as it is, you need to understand it's based on a true story. It actually happened. There was a French general who was mad and had 4 people at random shot because they wouldn't attack in a useless, pointless attack that would have gained nothing. It's a reminder of how incredibly stupid war is and how it seems to be run by people who don't have to bear any of the consequences of that war. I also watch another show. There's 6 episodes of it. It's called Blackadder Goes Forth. Now, Blackadder, if you know anything about it, is a funny show. makes fun of history, English history. Blackadder Goes Forth takes place in World War I, and it's the story of Captain Blackadder trying to get out of being killed in World War I. And much like MASH and some other movies, Catch-22, some other stories about how men deal with war, Blackadder Goes Forth deals with a lot of those same issues with very dark humor until the very end, when they have to go over the wall. They build that hope, they build that fear that they're going to get out of this, that they're not going to get out of this, that they are going to get out of it, they're not going to get out of it. Cunning plans. They build it all the way to the very end. And then they go over the top. And again, it's just a reminder, a remembrance of those who not only sacrificed, but were sacrificed for the incredible stupidity of war. Look, whatever you do on Veterans Day, do it with passion. Do it with dedication. But do it knowing that there were lessons to be learned from what was once known as Armistice Day, and then became Remembrance Day when World War I was finally over. And ask yourself, have we learned those lessons? And if we haven't learned those lessons, does anything that we're doing here reinforce those lessons, remind us of those lessons, bring them back to where we are? Or does it, just like everything else, ignore them? Look, you can look at the meme all you want. You can go get all the free stuff you want. It's not wrong. It's not insulting. But what it doesn't do is recall the fallen today, which is what this day was really originally all about. And for that matter, all the other days are about. Because if the only time we ever remember the futility and stupidity of war is one day a year, then we're not going to learn those lessons, are we? All I'm asking is, when you do go out, when you do enjoy those things that they want to give to us because we're veterans, say a little prayer to remember those who fell. Say a prayer for those who sacrificed and were sacrificed for all the things that we hold dear, including Veterans Day.
Listen, our guns have stopped.
You don't think...
Maybe the war's over. Maybe it's peace.
Oh, hurrah! The big knobs have got round the table and yanked the iron out of the fire.
Thank God. We lived through it. The Great War, 1914 to 1917.
Hip, hip, hooray!
I'm afraid not. The guns have stopped because we're about to attack. Not even our generals are mad enough to shell their own men. They think it's far more sporting to let the Germans do it.
So we are, in fact, going over. This is, as they say, it.
I'm afraid so. Unless I can think of something very quickly.
Company, one pace forward.
Oh, there's a nasty splinter on that ladder, sir. A bloke could hurt himself on that.
Stand ready.
I have a plan, sir.
Really, Bulrick? A cunning and subtle one?
Yes, sir.
As cunning as a fox who's just been appointed Professor of Cunning at Oxford University?
Yes, sir.
On the signal, company will advance.
Well, I'm afraid it'll have to wait. Whatever it was, I'm sure it was better than my plan to get out of this by pretending to be mad. I mean, who would have noticed another madman around here? Good luck, everyone.
On this day, we gather to recall the past, to honor those who in the trenches bled. But have we lost the meaning that should last? The lessons learned from battles long since spread. Armistice Day, a symbol of the peace. a moment to reflect on wars gone by. Yet in our hearts, the memories may cease, and in our minds, the reasons often lie. We've forgotten how the world was torn apart, and how the guns fell silent on that day. We've lost the sense of unity and heart that once inspired us to find a better way. Let's not forget the lessons of the past, and keep the true meaning in our hearts steadfast.